Hey Pete, Mike K from the Charlotte Observer. Hope all is well. Um, with the development of Trevin, I know you like seek and destroy style linebackers. What does he bring from a tenacity standpoint to the position?
Tenacity wise, I really like his demeanor on game day that we learned about in preseason, where, like you said, seek and destroy, but he takes some calculations within that, which is good. And, we didn't quite know what we were going to get until those preseason games, and we really saw not only the effort but the strength, and his block destruction with his punch, and finding the guy with the ball to go tackle him. So he started. I mean, from the beginning we were excited about him, and then once we saw him in game action, it proved to be what we hoped he was.
Let's go to Darren Gant.
Pete, EJ was just in here a little bit ago talking about the way you have trained him up. I mean, obviously, him being a rookie is not an ideal situation for calling a defense, but how was his process of learning how to call a defense through the offseason in the summer?
He's been a sharp guy from day one. I mean, I think we noticed that the first weekend. And I was able to kind of stick to my normal teaching, within the classroom and in walkthroughs and things like that, and just included everybody in the room as far as, hey, Trevin, did you hear what I just told Josie? Or did you hear what I just told Shaq? And, maybe repeat the idea in your words that we just talked about. But he's been a sharp guy. We haven't had to do any extra, on your feet meetings or anything like that. I mean, he's just been a sharp, studious guy that picked it up pretty quick.
Did he call defense in college?
Yeah, I believe he did. Yes. But you know how that goes. It's 11 guys getting the signal and going to play. So setting the front is probably the extent of most of what he had to do.
What is the biggest challenge for him in this role of trying to, be more of a leader of that group on the field?
I think the biggest challenge is the one play at a time aspect of things. And I think when I talked about demeanor, I think that's one of his strengths, to where when he comes off the field, we could talk about what he just saw, and he has really good recall there. I've been, proud of the whole room for that. But when he goes back out on the field, it's a fresh new down. It's a fresh new series of downs. So, one, it's a challenge, and two, it's something that he's proven to be good at so far. Being in a whole game, hopefully it carries over. But, we're very confident in his ability to execute the biggest challenge, which is, wiping the slate clean each play.
All right, let's go to Alex Zetlow.
Hey Pete, Alex Zetlow of the Charlotte Observer. Believe it or not, I'm going to ask about Trevin Wallace as well. Um, so early on in the season, Trevin kind of showed us his personality, and it seemed like Shaq and Josie really got along with him well. How quickly and just how generally did the older guys gravitate toward him? How have they interacted with him?
They've been phenomenal. Our, kind of belief in our room is it's a brotherhood within our ILB room. And, we got to that by, everybody says family, break on family, and family, and all that. But the fact of the matter is you got to start a little smaller. So we started with brotherhood, and they really adopted that. And those guys take young guys under their wing. They've proven so much. Shaq and Josie have proven so much in the league already that they can help a guy learn without, being threatened every day, and just personality-wise. So, from day one, they took him under his wing, and, they'll try to teach him some NFL veteran ways and try to raise him from a rookie to an older rookie to a veteran. So they've been phenomenal with that help.
Were you referencing the fine system that in the veteran ways?
I may have been, but they're in charge of that. So I'll let those vets be in charge of that, and let them handle it.
If final one for me, is there when he's going into his first start against a team like the Bears, is there one coaching point that at the end of the day you want him to know, or is it more complex than that? I'm sure it's more complex than that, but let me phrase it this way: if there was one coaching point, what would it be?
Well, I mentioned the one play at a time, so that's still my first answer. But I also, my job is to try to make the whole thing simple for him as well and all the guys in the room. So we started with, on Monday, talking about alignments. And even though they've done a good job with alignments throughout practice, throughout training camp, I wanted to bring it back, or we wanted to bring it back to day one. Let's align. If you can align, half your job, more than half your job really is done. So that's really been the focus of keeping things simple for these guys.
Thanks, Pete.
Hey, Pete, I know we've talked a lot about Trevin, but obviously Claude and Chandler are going to get opportunities as well. You've worked with them now for, a season and a half. Sorry, as my 1-year-old is trying to get my attention, I'm trying to juggle a bunch of things. But with those guys, what have you seen from them in their development over the last year and a half?
Couple things. Chandler has been super smart the whole time and picked up stuff and can play both positions. And our concern at times was, some of the height, weight, speed stuff. And he really ramped that up in the offseason. One, coming off injury, and two, just knowing what he had to work on. And he really had a great offseason. And then Claude came to us with height, weight, speed stuff, but has, very different football background than anybody else in the room. And, I didn't hear him say very many words last year. I mean, he's a very quiet, humble guy. And he came to visit at one point in the offseason when we were in the office, and I walked out like, Claude, that's the most words I've ever heard you say. And he really grew in, just the interpersonal part of everybody in the room and myself and him. And he just really stepped on the gas mentally. So he put himself in this position, to trot out there this weekend.
Any more for Coach?
Pete, kind of a silly one for me. We talk a lot about Shaq Thompson injury. We know that you're coming back from an injury as well, right? Earlier this year. How are you doing?
I'm slowly getting better. I noticed there's progress. I was talking with Shaq and said, hey, I didn't realize this was contagious, so I apologize. But when he was in a lighter mood there. But no, it's a slow process. So it's frustrating, but it's also, I remind myself to see the progress.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.